Hi, I'm Randy Hollenbeck, and this is the Music Roundtable. Today on the show, we have Matthew Nevitt from hard rock band Emperors and Angels.
Up, Randy.
There's a new day dawning, knocked down once or twice before. I'm ready for war. I'm waiting for every ounce left of energy. I'm bleeding down behind.
I wanted to dig into some of your history, how you got involved in music, and what age that happened.
Oh, sure, man. I mean, for myself, I've been doing it for quite a long time. Professionally, i.e., getting paid, touring, things like that, releasing music. That all started in 2006. But, before that, I don't think, I have an original story, of why I gravitated towards music. I mean, other than I grew up in the surroundings. My dad was a musician. I mean, my mom played records every day. I mean, it was just I was surrounded by it, and I knew somehow, and at some point, I could probably justify trying to take that route and that crazy journey.
Can you name some of your musical influences?
Oh, dude. I mean, I got a pretty cool record collection. I mean, do you want to know like who influences me today as in a modern artist or just kind of an overall,
Like when you were growing up, what kind of bands did you listen to?
yeah, sure. Um, First record that I owned um, was John Cougar Mellencamp, not John Mellencamp, the Coug. I had a this. I mean, other kids probably had them too. It was that brown Play School record player, and it actually worked. I mean, speakers weren't half bad in it. But I mean that was my first record. I wouldn't say so much influence other than the unique quality of his voice and songwriting. But uh, More so, I got into as I really became more of a musician. Um, the band Rush. I don't do the progressive style music. Never released anything like that, but it's just that journey, that they lay out there for you. It's absolutely incredible, and they're really the only ones I feel that can do it and sell it, in that manner that they did. But dude, I mean Van Halen. I mean I'm a Van Hagar fan. I like the singers. And he has an incredible voice, and I'm not downplaying anything with Lee Roth by any means. It's funny. I had this conversation the other day with somebody. Because as a natural singer, it's taxing and it's rough, to sing David Lee Roth song because he's just so abusive. you know. I mean, he's really not a singer. He's just not. He's flamboyant. And he had the charisma, and and you got to appreciate that, right? But for me, I'm a singer, and Sammy does it for me, man. I mean, the better the singer, the more inclined I am, to listen.
Would you say, Chris Cornell would be one of your influences?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that would have been later, in life, of course, the early Soundgarden days and things of that nature. Um, 100%. I mean, the grittiness and the uniqueness of his voice, just the strength. I mean, what more could you ask for? Especially in an ever changing music environment, which they were living in at that time when grunge was really, peeking its head out. So I mean, yeah, sure. I mean that whole movement had some great artists and great singers come through it.
How did you form the band?
Emperors and Angels, I, dude, it was an idea. It was an idea with my buddy, who's my bass player, Jason. Um, we were watching football. I believe we were watching the Chiefs and the Raiders. He's a Chiefs fan. I'm a Raiders fan. So you know who gets the upside in that battle most of the time. Well, at least in the last 10 years. But um, anyways, we were just joshing back and forth, and we played in the band when we were really young, before I took off, before I did any of the previous stuff I've done up until now. We were just playing around, and he just shot it. He was like, dude, he's like, listen to me. He's like, Bella, who I've known for forever around the local area here. He was wanting to do a new project, something a lot different than he'd ever done in the past, and I jumped at that opportunity. I'm like, well, heck, let's get some guys together. Let's go have some drinks. And we had a lot of drinks. And we talked about what everybody was looking for out of it. It was just supposed to be something, amongst friends, just something fun to release, and nothing really. We weren't striving to do anything any more crazy than what we could handle, right? And then along came the record label, Curtain Call, and they talked to us, and we put together something that was right for us, because it doesn't make sense, at our age and where we're at in life, to jump in a van, act like you're 21 years old again, and go eat peanut butter and jelly and dry ramen noodles, you know. So we made a game plan for ourselves, and it's like, well, let's release music, let's be able to do that. And at the start of that, we were working with a buddy of mine who I'd worked with previously in another project, Paul Trust. And Paul Trust is better known for the work he does with Starset. Um, so he kind of started this, help mature this idea, production wise at least, at the beginning, and the pandemic hit, and we're like all hands tied. It's like, what are we going to do? How are we going to release music? This is just crazy times, and there's a huge question mark for everybody, around that time. And I took it upon myself to learn how to mix and produce and record, and set myself up here. Many trial and error, many trial and error. It was not perfect, trust me. I mean, even the first record, it has its imperfections. I think they're cool imperfections, because as the one mixing it and producing it, I'm always going to overanalyze, right? But there are definitely mixing flaws and things of that nature where I have already cleaned that up, and now we're working on our second album. We haven't gotten to play too many shows, but the shows we do play, they're bigger in nature, and we're looking forward. We're actually leaving in a couple weeks here, and headed up to Michigan for a one-off show. So we're looking forward to going up to Battle Creek. I'm not sure if any of your listeners are familiar with that, but the Music Factory is probably one of the best live music venues in the Midwest.
How did you guys come up with the band name?
At the beginning, when Jason and I first started talking, like, dude, I'm crazy. My mind doesn't stop, you know? So, like, once that idea hit, you know, it's like lightning in a bottle, you know, and then shit just doesn't shut off. And, you know, I got on my computer, you know, I got on I got on Photoshop and Illustrator and, you know, started designing stuff and, you know, just seeing if like anything, you know, would catch, you know. And then I started reading through some stuff. And one thing I knew coming into this was that I wanted to flip, you know, I wanted to share the flip side of the darkness that had really trapped me for years. But within that, I wanted to share that darkness, you know, and not be scared, you know, to put that out there. And that's what, you know, a lot of the verses, you know, kind of, you know, assimilate, you know, it's just that lower than life feeling, you know, and just, yeah, it's just weakness. It really is. It comes down to weakness. And, but then that all matures, you know, into these uplifting choruses, you know, pre-chorus into the choruses, you know, hinting that, oh, you know, things can be okay. You know, maybe somebody else can't help you, but, you know, when you find the strength yourself, you know, that's your best, you know, answer, you know, that's your best way of having direction towards your happiness because, you know, we're all messed up in the head. And, you know, most of the time, you know, we can talk to ourselves, you know, but we can't figure out a way, you know, around that just circle that just keeps revolving and revolving and revolving inside your head. You just get locked up in there.
Yeah, it's like a vicious circle.
Yeah. So, so I was looking for something that was uplifting, you know, that was really going to carry this concept. And I found it accidentally because I'm not a huge religious buff. You know, this really had nothing to do with the nature of religion or anything. But I came across this surfing on Google. You know, I came across this sermon, and the title of the sermon was "Emperors and Angels." I started reading through it, and I was like, "Oh man, like this is cool." Not only, you know, you know, is there an upside to this? Like it was a modern day, you know, message to the world. I was like, well, that's what I want to do. That's what I want this band, you know, to be known for, is a positive message.
What city is your band based out of?
Peoria, Illinois. It's central Illinois. Mudvayne. That's that's this area. That's where they came from.
Sounding the violence, falling in to let this unfold. Millions of voices screaming because at what cost? 'Cause nobody wins. Stand at attention, it's time to die. Sign the dotted line. Under attack, the sky is awake. Missiles of death with no hesitation.
When the pandemic hit and live music shut down for that year, what did you do during that time?
Well, I feel I accidentally already answered this question for you, didn't I? I just went on a rant, and you know, it just interviews. You know, they kind of, you know, you can kind of see where they're going sometimes, and you know, it's fun to talk, and but yeah, I really set myself apart, you know, during it, and figured out what I could do. I opened my own studio. I was hired. I work for two different record labels now, for some of their up and coming bands. And I enjoy that. It's kind of the ground floor up, approach where I get a lot of say and a lot of happiness and trying to direct them and you know helping them move forward to the next rung on the ladder before they skip down four again.
After the lockdown lifted and live music returned, did you guys play out after that?
Well, when was the lockdown actually lifted? I can't even really remember. I mean, it's different in all areas, of the world. Um, but I mean, we we played okay, so we were slated to play this big festival for our local rock station here, and that ended up getting shut down, sadly enough. Um, and then they got a hold of us and they're like, "Hey, do you guys still want to try to do something? We'll do an after party. We'll promote it." We had like a day and a half to promote this thing. Like we, like I said, it was pretty nutty, but we took it on. We took it on, and we had a good show, man. We had a good show. We had a decent turnout. So we've played one show after that, or since then. I'm sorry. And like I said, now we're getting ready to head up to Michigan, and then that will be the last show before we do our little spurt with Trapped here in the Midwest. So we'll see how that goes in March.
When you played those couple shows, did you notice like the crowd more engaged? There's more energy in the crowd since live music returned.
It's hard for me to gauge that because I'm so high on our music and our performance right now. That I would like to think that we're sparking that ourselves. you know, like I said, I've been doing this. I've been doing this a while, and I've started up many bands and had lots of success touring around the United States. Um, but the beginnings are always difficult, and for me, this band it's just a little bit different. It's just a little bit different, and there's there's a vibe happening with this band, and I'm anxious to see where it heads.
I wanted to dig into a couple of your songs. You got "Signal the Brave." Could you give me your take on that song, the story behind it?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is I think we released it a year ago yesterday, and I think I saw that. So that's a cool that's a cool deal. Um, so Signal the Brave, I feel uh, it's probably the most political I'll get. I don't think we should be outspoken, and I try to stay pretty coy, within that, but still, making an appropriate point, that there's some things that just aren't right now. Um, and the song, the song was sparked because of some of that video footage. So then in turn, that was a cool way to bring that in to a music video because it made sense. It was like, well, this is kind of what sparked things for me, back when the first idea of that or iteration ever happened, you know. So other than that, I'm not here to preach.
What I got out of that was was it'd be really nice to know the true reason why we go to war.
Well, I love that. I love that. You know, I mean, why we asked for war. I mean, there was just such an outcry. I mean, keyboard warriors are the best with it. Like they're always pushing for something. They're always, but nobody ever thinks, nobody ever thinks, okay, so this happens. So what are the repercussions? That's not a first thought. The first thought is selfish, and I want to flex my muscle. Okay, cool. What happens after that? And I think a lot of that Syrian footage reflects perfectly what the outcome of that is. So cool, you man. Thanks for standing up and saying that. So I jumped on it again one more time, but like I said, I like to be pretty coy.
You have another song, it's called Ready for War, and there's a really cool lyric in there that stands out to me, where you're saying, "I'm reaching for every ounce left of energy. I'm leaving doubt behind." Could you explain that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was self-reflection. It was self-reflection and dealing, with all of these horrible feelings, memories, and demons, and they're just ever draining, And for me, the majority of my life, I've really had a hard time opening up, talking about anything. Music's been my outlet, and I think over the years, like it really beat me down without even me knowing it. And then, daily I'm impacted by it. I have a good life, dude. I'm I'm happy. I'm I'm a happy individual. I have a wonderful wife. I have a great family. Like life is good, but my body and my mental health was not. You know, so that's exactly where that line and a lot of the direction from a lot of the material that I write, really derives from. It's just that moment of going, all right, like I got maybe a little bit left, and can I push on forward from here, or am I going to really let this break me, you know? So that's why you're ready for war, because it's an internal battle. It's a do or die situation.
Like, over the last year, I just realized that, you just have to face your fears head on, plow through it, and you'll be better on the other side, you know?
Heck yeah, man. Yeah. But it's hard to get to that point sometimes, you know? So you're at least coming to some type of a realization, and that's excellent.
What do you guys got planned for 2022?
Well, we're starting off, like I said, we got a lot more shows happening. So that's good. I'm actually in the studio now, and we're really really close to having this second album done already. So we're definitely going to release that. Um, we are we're hoping that we're also able to release some of these covers that we've done here shortly too. We've done some remakes of some pretty cool tunes. We've been sitting on them for quite some time, just kind of waiting it out and seeing when the time's right and what makes sense. Because I mean, in all reality, this is a baby band. You know, I haven't tried to use anything from my past, to escalate anything. I wanted this thing, with Bella and myself, especially, writing, just like everything, just starting from square one and just really, truly proving that, it can really gain some wings, on its own. And if people start trickling in and go, oh, hey, that's, then that's cool, but it just wasn't something that I wanted to throw out front. I really want this to be something special with my buddies, and we've all, at some point in one facet or the other, throughout all these years, we've shared shows, or we've been in bands together before, but not all of us at one time, you know, were able to make it happen like we have now. So we're doing all right so far. We're all still excited about it, so That's number one. Bill and I still write every Tuesday. I mean, it doesn't shut off. And that's great. I mean, it creates creates issues. Because you know we only have a second album. Like 12, 13 songs maybe. And we're swimming through all of these songs that we've already recorded or jotted down. Just I mean, we're machines, dude. I mean, and when I say we're machines, Bella sparks it a lot for me because he doesn't stop writing on his guitar. Like I have never ever 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 like been around someone that just purely loves his instrument as much as he does. You know, and I think for the most part, because I've been around so many jaded people, just like, I want, or I deserve this, and not that. My dreams are crushed. Why. He's a real dude, and he just loves it, man. He loves music. He loves playing his guitar, so he riffs all the time. So we come in and we go through all the riffs, and sometimes it's like, oh my god. But we figured it out, and like I said, he influences me. He sparks something good in me. And it's definitely a genuine fun process.
Yeah, like that riff that he had at the beginning of Ready for War. When he showed you that, did you like say, "Oh my god," like where it goes down, 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 down?
Yeah, I mean, so Ready for War was the second song that we had ever written. And it was the second time we'd ever gotten together, like together as musicians in one room, to do anything. Um, and at the time, um, our drummer was in uh, California visiting family, and so long story short, he comes in, he's got all these riffs, like this is like the beginning of it. So like for me, it was chaos. I'm like, oh my gosh, like all this stuff, like let's write a song, with 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 all this stuff, like with all these riffs, let's sift through, let's pick, what works best for us and our style. And at the time, we were figuring out what our style really was going to be, anyways. But yes, yeah, that was one of the riffs that you knew, like that was cool, man. That was special, you know. So I think it turned out to be a pretty darn good song too.
How could we get a hold of you guys? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter?
We have all the handles, yeah, Emperors and Angels. You can't use the amperstamp. You got to the good old A&D, but Emperors and Angels. Wherever you go, we're there. EmperorsandAngels.com. We got that too. You can find us on Spotify. I know that's a sore subject for a lot of people. Um, but, you know, anywhere you can stream music, you can stream Emperors and Angels. Anywhere you can buy music, you can pick up our first album or any of the singles that we released previously before that.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you for coming on the show today. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I don't think so. We're just anxious to play some more shows, finish up this second record. Our internal team, it's interchanging right now, and there's some cool things happening. So we're looking forward to a lot of stuff. But I mean, right now we're only going to focus on what we can control, and what we can control is our music and our live show. So we'll just control that, and hopefully let other people control everything else.
And you have some shows coming up with Trapped soon, right?
Yes. Yep. In March. Yep.